Right then guys, it's PSL here, and I'm here for a one-off different sort of video and race on F1 2017. Not on career mode, as you can see, Season 2, Round 18. That's a preview for another video which will be coming out. Well, one which will be coming out in the not too distant future, and one in probably a couple of months' time. Anyway, classic Formula 1 cars. I'm not going to be driving the 92 Williams, as brilliant as it is, but I will be driving the 1996 Williams Formula 1 car, Damon Hill's championship winning Formula 1 car. And we're going to be doing a race around Japan Short, Suzuka Short, or if you've played Gran Turismo like me, Suzuka East Course. Because I believe that layout of Suzuka has been in Gran Turismo since Gran Turismo 4, I believe. We're doing a multi-class classic cars race. That means every classic car will be there, right the way from the 88 McLaren to the 2010 Red Bull. 95 AI difficulty. I was going to mention this in the video. I still will, but the problem is this video was recorded just before the 1.6 update to the game on the PS4, so it's kind of actually fixed all of the issues I had with difficulty, but I'll still mention it in this video even though it's pretty redundant. As you can see on the race, I've set up a custom weather scenario. It's going to start dry, then it's going to be light rain, heavy rain, and then it's going to stop raining again. And the time progression, we're going to have a custom time progression. I'm just combining all of the game's features into one mega race. We're quintupling the speed of time. So that's going to be fun. We're going to start on sunrise, and hopefully it's going to get towards sunset by the end of the race. But, well, it's raining, so we won't really be able to see a time progression. But I'm just combining all of the game's features into one mega exciting, interesting race. And trust me, this is an interesting race. I'm sure you've already guessed by the title of this video. But anyway, I'm sure you can imagine a short track, difficult to overtake, S section, and lots of different cars of varying different speeds. It's gonna be fun, and classic cars, of course. And here we are in the middle of practice, and you know, that's just to show you the difference in the track layout. Instead of going left, you end up going right around a 180 degree turn. And here we are having a look at the other cars in practice, and look, we got the 2004 Ferrari, we got the 2008 McLaren, Lewis Hamilton's championship winning car. So we've got a lot of different cars, and this is the perk of doing a multi-class race. You get all of the classic cars. Well, not all of them, actually. There are two which have been omitted, but that's, well, I deliberately made sure it was two which didn't really matter. And here we are in practice, and already we've got traffic troubles. We had a 2010 Red Bull held up by the 98 McLaren. Now we've got the 95 Ferrari, 2006 Renault, and a 2004 Ferrari, all in a train, and having to pass each other. My word, we've got racing in practice. And if anything, I think it is a genuine rule in Formula 1 that you're not allowed to race in practice. I know they're not racing, but they have got to overtake, and it's, well, I mean, that's just a taster for what is to come. Short qualifying, and I didn't do anything with the weather for qualifying or practice, but it did decide to rain in qualifying, so we'll get an idea of how quick each of the cars is in wet conditions, because of course some of the cars here have got traction control, because that's when it was legal in Formula 1, so I think the 92 Williams does, but certainly the 2002 Ferrari would if it was in the race, but the 2004 Ferrari, 2006 Renault and 2007 Ferrari all have traction control, so they're suddenly going to find a lot of speed in these wet conditions. The 96 Williams certainly doesn't have traction control, and if it did, it legally shouldn't have done, because I know there was all sorts of issues, mainly with Benetton at around this time in Formula 1 of were Benetton running traction control, but there were no standard ECUs back then, so to all intents and purposes this car doesn't have traction control. Anyway, we qualified down in 13th place. As you can see, my teammate is in 15th. Here's what I was going to raise, because I like this game, but qualifying wound me up on this game. Qualifying and the difference in difficulty between this version and the PC version. This has been all, I believe, all been fixed with the 1.6 update. This was the last race, in fact the last time I played the game on version 1.5. I was ahead of my teammate, I simulate to the end of the session, and then he trounces me. And I believe even if I didn't actually skip the session, I believe even if I fast forwarded through the time, he probably still would have beaten me. But as I said, this has been fixed now, but the thing is though, is I recorded this video and then edited it before the 1.6 update went out. Anyway, as you can see, we've got the 2004 Ferraris tearing up the scene, of course. 2010 Red Bulls not too far behind, a 2006 Renault in 4th. The 2006 Renault, I would genuinely say on this game, around certain tracks, is the quickest car in this game on wet conditions. Well, the quickest classic car. It's just so easy to drive, and in wet conditions, on wet conditions, you don't even notice the difference in that 2006 Renault. It's such a brilliant car to drive. Dry conditions is a bit slow. In wet conditions, it's so easy to drive that you just gain loads of time on everyone. Anyway, here we are for the start of the race, and what a race we've got in store. We've already seen a bit of practice action, a bit of qualifying action, and here we've got the weather. As you can see, sunny, cloudy, light rain, no heavy rain, and no stopping of the rain. Now, we are on a 100% distance. I think it's because we've kind of tricked the game, because we've set a custom weather scenario for 100% race. However, this race is going to be over in about 40 minutes. So it's actually shorter than most 50% races. So it's a 100% race that's shorter than a 50% race. Yeah. Also, one thing I should mention just before we head into the race, the qualifying times, I worked this out. If you applied the 107% rule to the qualifying times, none of the C2 cars, i.e. the 98 McLaren backwards, none of them would have been allowed to race. But thankfully, there's no 107% rule, so we are allowed to take part. And the 2017 Classic Cars Formula 1 race is underway. I don't know why I said 2017, because this has got nothing to do with the year 2017. Anyway, already we've got our teammate who's up ahead. He's actually made a very decent start. Yellow flags already somewhat spun out. It's one of the 2006 Renaults. I was singing praises for that car, and already there's one down the back of the field. 15th place overall, 6th in class. So we got a 92 Williams just up ahead, as you would have noticed at the start. My teammate started one place ahead, and he's got off to a very decent start. He's passed Murray in the 92 Williams, and also Moreno in the 98 McLaren. And they are, the 98 McLarens are definitely the quickest in this class. Well, I say definitely. I've driven the 98 McLaren. I wasn't too bowled over by it, to be honest. But anyway, so we're still one lap. That's one lap done already. It's a 40-second lap. It is such a short lap. Replay of the race starts. So we got both 2004 Ferraris at the start, but in fact the guy in second's got off to a really bad start there, and I think he's going to be trounced by the 2010 Red Bull. So here we go, first corner. So this is a good visual demonstration of the difference between the 2004 Ferrari, the last of the, actually no it isn't, I was going to say the last of the V10 cars, not quite, it's the second to last of the V10 cars. But look, the 2004 Ferrari, it doesn't quite have the downforce, because of course in 6 years, you may have regulation changes, but in 6 years Red Bull were able to produce a car with better downforce than Ferrari could 6 years prior. We had 6 years of automotive development, not to mention the double diffusers of course back in 2010. But look down, so the 2010 Red Bull was able to catch up and be right up behind going around the corners, but then down the straight, that V10 power of that 2004 Ferrari, nothing can possibly compete. The only car that can actually compete with that car in a straight line is the 2002 Ferrari, and that's not even in this race, because what will be the point is there's very little difference between the two cars. And we'll have a look at the Renault, which span round, oh my word, and actually lucky not to collect one of the 2010 Red Bulls there. And he's down in stone dead last, and he's going to actually reverse onto the track rather than drive forwards. So it looked like both 2006 Renaults were starting right by each other, and it looks like that they got involved in some sort of collision. So having a look on board from the guy who got spun around, so he's just going about his business. Yeah, as far as I can tell, he did nothing wrong. He was just taking the racing line. Of course, couldn't steer to the left because, well, there were cars there. It was a race start. You can't just drive to the left without sideswiping someone. And anyway, we'll have a look at his teammate, who started behind. In fact, there was a 2010 Red Bull splitting him all 3 wide already. Your 2007 Ferrari, they got off to a phenomenal start. And yet, the two Renaults, they tagged. And they could have done so well this race. They outperformed themselves in qualifying, but, well, already one's down at the back of the field. And here we go, we've got Moreno in the 98 McLaren. He got off to a very poor start. I mean, my teammate jumped him. But as you can see, he's going to be able to get past the 96 Williams. It's Mercedes power versus Renault power. 2 years of engine development difference, and as such, it's easy to get by. Of course, there were major regulation changes between 96 and 98, notably car width. I also believe groove tyres. As you can see, the 98 McLaren has got groove tyres. Even despite that, I was able to breeze past the dominant 1992 Williams. Yeah, groove tyres, I don't believe they were on the 96 Williams, and no, they're not. Okay, so yeah, the groove tyres days, Jesus. Anyway, still in 15th place, and my teammate's been falling backwards because, as you can see, the 98 McLaren got by relatively easily. The 1992 Williams, though, the second quickest car in class, hasn't been able to get by. And I've just, well, going around the first corner, I've been able to hold it through the S's, just about been able to get past him. So there you go, I'm up into 14th overall, 5th in class, because of course, we got one of the 2006 Renaults, which is, well, at the back of the field. He's out of sync. And we got my teammate who's going very, very slowly around the first corner. And there you go, been able to get past him easily. Of course, this is, again, going back to version 1.5, which wound me up so much, where the AI were too quick in the race. No, sorry, they were too quick in qualifying, but too slow in the race. Thankfully, that's been fixed now. And anyway, we've got another one of the 1992 Williams going incredibly slowly and left me a ton of space. It's almost like he let me through. It's almost like Williams were joining together. It's very strange. The 92 Williams is a quicker car, active suspension, all sorts. I mean, there's quite a few different regulations allowed, and the difference in cars is quite notable between 92 and 96. Also, it's quite different between 96 and 2004, as evidenced by the fact that, well, that 2004 Ferrari, what a monster, it's just breezed past. So, that's the first time I've been lapped all Grand Prix, but then again, this is a 35, 40 second lap. You know, you're going to get lapped a lot, trust me. This isn't a lapped position, this is a genuine positional change, because this is the Renault which ran out at the start. So we've got a 2006 Renault competing with a 1992 Renault powered Williams, and there you go. The worrying thing is now that Renault's got by, the next person on his hit list is me. And look how far away he's pulled from the 92 Williams. Sure, I seem to be quicker than the 92 Williams, because again, this is on version 1.5, when I had to be slightly too quick in the races to, you know, anyway, I'm not going to bang on about that, because that's gone now. Whoa! That was one of the 98 McLarens who spun out. And I was so struggling to catch up to them. Those 1998 McLarens are ungodly fast. At least compared to every other car in this category, they are just so quick. But it looks like he made a mistake. Well, he's trying to let lap cars through and then suddenly lost it. Okay, and then, well, no, he lost it big time there. Okay, I was about to say, I saw him sliding a bit, and I was like, okay, where was the big mistake? And then it came. And yeah, that was just enough time lost to lose position to me. So that means, in the 1996 Williams, the third quickest car in class, I'm second in class, which means I am 11th overall. So we got one of the dominant 2004 Ferraris. I was pulling off to the side of the track. Oh my word, the 2004 Ferraris, they were dominating. These were tied from second place. We still got a 2004 Ferrari leading it, I believe. And we got to we've got a 2007 Ferrari. And oh my word, yeah, it started. We've got the chaos with lapped cars in the S section, and I think he just went into, I think he saw a gap to get past the Renault. I believe this is the Renault which span out at the start, tried to let him through. Well, either way, he saw a gap which didn't exist. Went into the side of him, lost a wheel, and he is out. So that is our second. We've had 2 retirements in quick succession. And so I'm 10th overall now, still second in class, but we've had 2 cars in a higher class retire. One due to mechanical issue, and one, I believe, well, trying to get past a lap car, who really knows at this point. Anyway, and we're going to let past, well, I've let past Moreno. Unfortunately, I had to let a lapped car through, and Moreno just took his opportunity, saw I was going slowly, was right behind that car, and breezed past. We saw Max Verstappen do a very similar sneaky tactic, I remember in Formula 1 a year or 2 ago, a couple of years ago I believe, and it's happening again here. That was at Monaco and this is at Suzuka, but still. Anyway, yeah, there you go, there's a 2006 Renault. I'm amazed it took it, was that 18 laps? It took the 2006 Renault 18 laps to get past me. And look, it's gone. Gone already. That's 10 years of automotive development and traction control, legal traction control, and it's just gone. That 2006 Renault is such a brilliant car. And here we are with the slowest car in class and the slowest car in the race, the 1988 McLaren. One of the most iconic Formula 1 cars, but unfortunately just not so quick. Hang on! That's a 2010 Red Bull that's gone! Right, so the 88 McLaren survived, so we got, I mean, arguably the quickest car against the slowest car. They're trying to lap each other. And just a collision between the two. The 2010 Red Bull, wow. Yeah, again, it was just a similar case. He saw a space, which he thought was there, but it wasn't. And yeah, this is why I decided to do this race. Because it's, I mean, as I said, the 100, we know why the 107% rule exists. It's to stop cars getting in the way, being a nuisance, and causing incidents like this. That's why we have the 107% rule, and all of the Class 2 classic cars were outside the 107% rule. All of them, even the 98 McLaren. So think about the 88 McLaren. That's going to be a way off, and it's a short track as well. So you probably need like a 103% rule around this track just to. Well, we know why it exists, to be honest. Anyway, and it looks like. Well, anyway, I've actually failed to mention that it's raining. The rain, which we knew was coming because I made it come anyway. The rain has come. I was actually one of the last to pit onto the wet tyres. There's no intermediate and wet tyres in classic cars. You just have one dry compound and one wet compound. And I fit on the wet tyres. And now suddenly we've got a whole new dynamic. Because we've seen what the cars are like in the dry. And now we've seen what they're like in the wet. And already, we've just had a few laps of wet running. And already, there's been an incident. My teammate has span out. Sure, it's not a retirement. But, I mean, it's literally only just started raining and we've already had one incident. Yeah, this is why I did it around Suzuka Short, the shortest track on the game. In terms of lap time, seriously, I also believe in terms of distance. It's such a phenomenal circuit this is. Suzuka East course, as I know it as. Anyway, I've just lapped someone else there, I believe, or... I believe so, honestly. This is such... It's... Just not a single second went by without something happening, honestly. And again, I've got to let more cars through. And in fact, one of the 2008 McLarens just outbraking himself. I tried to let him past. And yeah, it was, I honestly, letting lapped cars through, ever since what, about lap 10? I had to do that pretty much every lap, let someone through. The blue flags were out constantly this Grand Prix. And look at this, we got a 2008 McLaren, an 88 McLaren, a 96 Williams, a 2006 Renault. And look at that, 3 wide. We've got an 88 McLaren splitting an 06 Renault and a 96 Williams. And I was lapping the McLaren, the Renault was lapping both me and the McLaren. It's just, it is frantic at this point. And now we got the rain, people are starting to run wide at this point. And here we are. Well, the 1995 Ferraris, they've been, they haven't really done a whole lot this Grand Prix. The problem is they are the second slowest cars on the grid, and they're just getting in the way, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, they're not actually the second slowest cars in class. They're the third slowest in class, but obviously we're missing one of the C1 cars. That's the 2002 Ferrari, and we're missing one of the. Hang on, he's pulling off to the side of the track. He's retiring. That's 2 Ferraris now that have retired at the same part of the circuit. 2004 Ferrari and the 95 Ferrari. That actually brought out the safety car. And what's happened there? There's another retirement. Someone's retired behind the safety car. Oh, even when the safety car's out, there is still drama. But yeah, anyway, going back to my point. There's one C1 car missing. It's a 2002 Ferrari. There's one C2 car missing, and it's the 91 McLaren, I believe. It's not the 88 McLaren. And the 88 McLaren, championship winning car, iconic, drove into the back of the safety car. I believe it was passing the safety car. Well, it's a lapped car, so it should be allowed to pass the safety car, but just made a horrible. That was horrendous. And that safety car must be made of concrete, because that wasn't a massive collision, yet the wheel came off of that McLaren. And it came off because obviously there's no wheel tethers back then, so it did. Yeah, it completely came off. Anyway, yes, safety car was out, right, so I decided to fit on a new set of wet tyres. I'm currently 10th overall, which is 3rd in class because so many different people have retired at this point. 10th overall, 3rd in class. I was quite a way ahead of the guys behind, the 92 Williams. Not as far ahead as I thought, unfortunately, as I've actually lost a couple of places. I believe to 2 92 Williams at this point. But anyway, the safety car came in. I mean, there was drama with the safety car out. We may as well put the safety car back in because someone retired off the back of the safety car. Anyway, the safety car's come in, and we're going to get back to racing conditions. And in fact, there's yellow flags already. Oh, and there's yellow flags, and there's blue flags, and there's racing. What is going on? Someone else has retired. And I think I've passed some people. I think it was an illegal overtake, and then they retracted the illegal overtake. We got a 2008 McLaren. Ah, oh, what on earth is going on at this point? Yellow flags behind. Someone has spun out behind me. It is all kicking off. The safety car, the second safety car comes in. Wow. So we got another one of the 1995 Ferraris. Did nothing this Grand Prix. They couldn't compete with the Williams, either of the Williams, the McLarens, and they were much quicker. Well, they were much quicker than the 88 McLaren. And they pulled off. Wow, he pulled off to retire. The second the safety car came in front of traffic. Pretty much the entire field was behind him, and he just pulled off in front. That's exactly what I said at the start of the Grand Prix you can't do. And yeah, and he collected one of the 2008 championship-winning McLarens. And, wow. And yeah, there's a massive debacle with blue flags, yellow flags, all sorts. And we got me and my teammate went side by side. My teammate ran off the side of the track, and there's another collision with another 2008 McLaren. My teammate's still in the race, but he must have dropped down a few places in class. And here we go. So we just got the 2008 McLaren minding his own business. He ran wide. Lots of people were starting to run wide. The second the rain came out, people were running wide at that first corner. It may be banked, it may be a non-camber corner, but it's just, honestly, this race, it's so impossible to keep track of. We've got one of the 2006 Renaults. That's the car I want to be driving. In these sort of conditions, that is the car I want to drive, the 2006 Renault. And in fact, hang on, what is going on? We got one of the 92 Williams, which I've just not lapped, overtaken for position. Going incredibly slowly, I think got out of shape while trying to get out of the way of the other Renault, where both cars are Renault powered. Anyway, the race ended mercifully, thank God, because this race was so action-packed. And the race has ended, and not a winner you would have expected. Not an 06 Renault, not an 04 Ferrari, but instead a 2007 Ferrari won this Grand Prix. But so because one of the 2004 Ferraris retired, the 2010 Red Bull's gone into instance, and in fact it was a 2007 Ferrari, whereas the 2008 McLaren just behind. I don't know if he actually came second. And there you go, I'm going to finish 10th overall, third in class, I believe, just behind the 298 McLarens. You may have noticed there's now only 13 runners, because my teammate retired. I didn't realise until editing this, but my teammate retired. No idea how, but that is an end to this frantic Grand Prix. And I'm sure you can see why I decided to make a video on this, because this is not normally a sort of video this is not normally a sort of race I'd make a video on, but look at that. I mean, that's just the retirements in my class. We've got 4 retirements, including my teammate. No idea how he retired. One of the 88 McLarens, the only one that survived, was 3 laps down. And then you got, look, a 2007 Ferrari ahead of a 2006 Renault. Then a 2010 Red Bull, surprised he's that far down. And a 2004 Ferrari in 5th got involved in a collision. I just didn't have time to show it to you because, I mean, well, there was a lot going on this race. I know the 2004 Ferrari got involved in a collision. Actually, I think it might have been when the safety car crashed with the 88 McLaren. I think it was that Ferrari, possibly, that took front wing damage, then pitted and lost a lot of track position. That might be what happened, but honestly, so much happened it's difficult to keep track of. One final thing just before I end off this video, have a look at this picture. This picture is a still, the only remaining real kind of image of a failed attempt to this race. In fact, it wasn't a failed attempt, it was a phenomenal race. I think the race effectively ended. It ended for me after about 36 laps. Everyone got disqualified. Everyone in the C2 class and the lower class got disqualified, including myself. That's because, well, as you can see, the safety car span out. I'm sure you've seen this glitch before. I've seen it around USA, and now it's happened around Japan. The safety car span out, and then because there were people who apparently illegally overtook the safety car, but the safety car span out, and then there were obviously lapped positions, and basically I think the game got confused because the fact the safety car span out, and then there were people who were trying to unlap themselves, but the safety car span out. It eventually said that I was 50 seconds ahead, I was 50 seconds quicker than the Delta, but because it considered me to have lapped the safety car, but the safety car span out. Anyway, point being, that was a failed race. It was phenomenal. I would have shown it to you, but I recorded it. I've got a new capture device. Well, I say new. I've only had it for a month, but I've used it a lot. and it only recorded the sound of that race. And it's so annoying because that race, everybody in the C2 class got disqualified apart from one of the 88 McLarens which retired earlier on. So that means that the 88 McLaren which retired won, which means if I deliberately crash into a wall just before I got disqualified, I would have retired and then won the Grand Prix. And only, I think there were 13 or 14 disqualifications. It was a phenomenal Grand Prix, to be honest. Yeah, honestly, and it's such a shame I can't show it to you, but yes. And yes, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please leave a like, comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time for probably a more normal race than this one. Honestly, I think we've peaked. I think this is going to be the most interesting, most exciting race on this channel, on this game. I don't think we're going to peak from this. This has been short circuit, changeable conditions, classic cars, varying different speeds, 7 retirements, and yes, it honestly was a very, very exciting, interesting race. So yes, guys, please leave a like, comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time for what will be probably a more normal race than this one. So I'll see you then.